Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And today we're going to be testing out FSD Beta, the old version, and the new version. We're going to take the same route with the old version first, which we're doing now, and then we're going to test out the new version and see if it's any better. Next on In Depth. Thank you to Babbel for sponsoring today's episode.
Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world.
I really like that I can brush up on my Italian in a quick 10-minute lesson.
What I love is that with Babbel, I can check my pronunciation. Check this out. Io sono di Firenze. And it tells me whether I said it right. Lui è di Milano. Makes me feel good too.
The intuitive lessons help you learn a language through real-life conversations.
And Babbel uses speech recognition technology to improve pronunciation. The lessons are designed by real language teachers to help prepare you to have practical conversations about travel, business, relationships, and more.
So it's a cross-platform, which helps me work a lesson into my busy day. I can use it on my computer, my phone, when I'm on the go, or on any of my devices.
Babbel is scientifically proven to help you start speaking a new language in 3 weeks.
Spring is here, so step out of your hibernation and get ready for travel.
Start learning with Babbel now, and you can be speaking a new language in time for adventure this summer and beyond.
Babbel offers a 20-day money-back guarantee.
Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get 60% off your subscription.
And hey, leave a comment down below about what language you'd like to learn. So Jesse, what are your pre-thoughts? How do you think we're going to do? What's your precog on this?
So we picked a route that's kind of balanced. We've got some fairly simple road like this with, pretty well-marked lines. Some twists and curves, but nothing too bad. And then we're going to go through Lowell.
Our favorite city.
Our favorite city. It's probably one of the harder environments that full self-driving could really handle. So I don't have much faith in the old version. By the way, if you want to see the latest version, you can skip to this time code right here.
Also, if you want to see how FSD Beta fared a while ago, we did this same route, or very similar route, about, a year ago?
Yeah.
You can check out that video here.
But so far, it's doing great.
Yeah.
This feels very comfortable. It asks me every once in a while to put my hands on the wheel. I give it the little torque, but I'm not actually steering.
And if you'd like to see Jesse not relax Jesse, you can head on over to this video where we wired up Jesse with all sorts of monitors, and we actually got his heart to skip a beat, I think.
Yeah, we were driving through Boston. That was not so fun.
So there was some snow there on the right, and normally as a driver, I would have given it a little bit of more berth. It cut it really close. What do you think?
Yeah, I must just be a right side of the road driver.
I think I am too.
And I think that's okay.
Maybe you got it from me. I feel like the only bad thing about a right side driver is that, there could be a mailbox, or there could be
I know, but I'm looking.
Right.
I can get over. I'm not glued to the right-hand side.
Right.
All right, so now we're coming up to our first intersection.
Let's see how it does.
Handled this really well. The slowdown was nice. We're in the correct lane. You can't be in the wrong lane here, so right here, you can barely see the lane lines. The car seems to be able to see them pretty well. Yeah. Which is good. It also has a car to follow in front of us.
Conditions are great today. Nice and clear, sunny.
Yep. Roads aren't wet or anything. So we're coming up to another stoplight. I don't think we're going to wind up stopping. But then after this, there's a merge. I don't think we're going to have to merge. So going through a yellow light here. That's what I would have done. I would have gone through that light. We didn't even have to speed up to go through it.
So what you're going to start to see here is a tally on the screen of interventions. That way you'll be able to see how many interventions with this version, the old version, versus the new version of FSD Beta. Be interesting to see.
Yeah. So we just passed the speed limit sign. It slowed me down to 30.
That is annoying.
I'm going to speed us back up a little bit because...
That should be taken care of. I feel like they should know that you were driving at a certain speed and nothing really changed, so why would you slow down all of a sudden?
Well, I understand because there are lots of parts of the country where it's 55 on a county route or something, and then it ends in a town, and it slows down to 30.
No, I get that. I just feel like when it's such a minor thing and there's other traffic, you could just be telling the algorithm to just follow the Oh, what happened there?
So, changing lanes. Oh, hello.
Oh,
really?
That's sketchy.
I mean, that. That sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't take over, but...
Good for you not taking over. That took a lot of confidence.
I don't know. I'm giving that a half. That's a half intervention. I should have taken over, I think.
I mean, if there had been anyone like behind you.
Yeah, I was weighing the safety outcome. I mean, it ended up getting in the right lane, which is the correct lane to get into.
Why did it get confused in the first place?
I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see how the next version does.
Yes. All right, so now we're going to want to stay to the right here.
It's doing great.
It's doing great. I'm not driving, but I have my hand on the steering wheel. So we're coming up to a yield.
It is slowing down nicely.
Slowing down. We shouldn't have to yield to anybody. My foot over the brake. Okay. And now it can go safely.
Wow, it did great job.
I think it did great. That was fine.
Yeah. I do want to make a comment about Tesla's navigation system.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you had to put our route in backwards with all the waypoints. You had to choose where we'd end up, then choose the spot before that and the spot before that. That's not how my brain works. My brain works as, where's the first place I'm going today? Where's the second place?
I think that the way that most people would use waypoints would just be to have a third point. I think that it's kind of unusual to have multiple waypoints.
Sure.
So I think that for most people, they'd be like, okay, I'm going to grandma's house, but I want to stop at the grocery store. So that's what, you typically enter. Another thing, I feel like I should have my right blinker on.
That's a good point.
I mean, I am going to be taking this right at this intersection. When is it going to turn the blinker on?
That was weird.
That was weird.
It's like it heard you. We didn't move an inch.
I know, that was
And it
funny.
turned on. Wait, did it turn off?
Yeah.
It turned on and off.
That's weird.
Are we like just on the border of where it's supposed to turn
I
it
guess
on?
so.
Like we're 200 feet or something?
Technically, like, we're barely in the proper lane to do this, I think. Like, I don't know. Weird. All right, so have me put my hand on the wheel.
But now shut the blinker off again.
I know. Like, keep it on, dude.
I mean, that just confuses other drivers
Right.
if you keep shutting it off.
Okay.
Went a little wide.
No, I think that was fine. That was just about dead center. Yeah, not bad. All right, so here it's going to be complicated.
So are we getting into more of the tricky part of the ride?
Right. Now I think we should be in the left lane. It's not chosen a lane. And that's going to start to pee off some other drivers. It should be heading over to the right just a little more, like an extra foot and a half. Just to give plenty of room for the... Wait. No. What the was that? That's another half intervention. It did the wrong thing. It put on its blinker at the complete wrong time.
That would have really screwed up a driver behind you.
Yeah, definitely. So now, blinker in front of us. He's going to take a left. I would have slowed down way earlier. So that way we didn't have to slam on our brakes like that. And it's like, is that dangerous or is that just making the passengers uncomfortable? It doesn't build trust.
No. It is a lot like a 16-year-old.
Right. And apparently the speed limit's 35. I'm going to back it off to 30 because this is pretty dense.
Especially because any of these car doors on the right could open at any
pop
time.
open. Yeah.
And that's where you need every split second of reaction time.
Little jerky on the wheel there, but I think it handled it okay.
Now we're going into a school zone that should drop us to 20.
Technically.
I don't know it is a school day.
Okay. Bit heavy on the brakes there, continually heavy on the brakes. I mean, I know that the person was turning right, but it could have smoothed that out a little bit. And it's funny because, like, I had backed it off to 30, but 35 is more appropriate here, which is the speed limit. Okay, so now...
This is going to be a tricky one.
Yeah. So really weird positioning
very weird
for the
angle.
intersection. It gives a very aggressive stance to the drivers oncoming. All right, now go.
Too slow.
Way too slow. Okay, cutting it a little close, taking it a little too slow. Would have liked a little more confidence coming out of that. And now it's going 10.
What is going on?
That was weird.
That does not feel good.
Really should have been speeding up through there.
If we had a driver behind us, they would have beat
They would have beat us, for sure.
I mean, I almost would have argued that was a half intervention.
Yeah. You know what? Let's have instead of half interventions, let's call it uncomfortable driving.
Okay. And there, like, it could have missed those potholes, but it didn't. Okay, what's going on here?
So this is just this is Lowell, baby. So it's got a crosswalk that it's not supposed to cross. It's peeking out. I think think I would have gone right there, but
Okay.
honestly, handled
I mean,
that pretty damn well.
I don't know that intersection
That's
at
a
all,
hard
and
intersection.
I would have handled it very similarly. I would have been very cautious.
I think that it did everything that it needed to do to be able to obey the traffic laws. So, I mean, it stopped before the crosswalk, which is what you're supposed to do legally. Then it pulled forward to get a better view. Then it needed to pull forward again to get a better view. Overall, I think it handled that pretty well.
So what, we're taking a hard right here?
Yes. And this has been recently been reworked by the city. So I don't know how well it'll handle it.
Taking a long time to recalculate the route. There we
Yeah.
go. This is one of the nice things about Tesla, though, because if this had been a pre-mapped thing for like Waymo,
True.
it may not know what to do here. Whereas Tesla doesn't know or care whether it was just recently redone.
Okay, coming up to the intersection.
So this should be easy, except for the fact that it's a merge.
Yeah.
And there's a big bus. This will be very interesting. Who's it going to give?
Ooh.
I'm very proud of you, Jesse. Very proud
I
of you.
hated that. Oh, I hate this too. Oh, yeah. See, we need to get over. And it's not going to... This guy's waving us on. I gave it a little bit of... Okay, we're in the wrong lane. All right, so I'm just going to make it suffer its mistake here.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, Jesse.
So, yeah, the other driver was waving me on, like, f***ing go, and the car was not going to be able to make it into that lane because I would have had to get really tight to the bus. So now we're completely off course.
Interesting.
So now it's pulled us over into the left lane with no blinker, which is weird. I mean, not that there's a well-demarcated lane markers.
What are we doing now?
So now we're off course. This is pretty much the way to do it, I guess. It's just going to skip getting on the connector.
I guess we'll have to just reroute. This will be our next route so that it stays the same.
Well, no, I actually want to see if it could make that turn, the latest version. So, I mean, it will be different, but, if you were a driver and you missed that turn, then you missed the turn, and now you have to kind of deal with it. But I don't know.
So would you call that an intervention?
Yeah.
Or it's another uncomfortable?
I didn't take it out, technically, but I was giving it pedal input.
So what are you going to call that uncomfortable?
I don't know. I mean, look, it's a nuanced thing. You're gonna have to interpret it yourself as someone who's watching this.
I guess I'd call that uncomfortable.
I mean, it also missed the turn.
True.
So you gotta factor that in.
Oh, I see. So maybe that is an intervention because you would have taken over to fix that.
Yeah.
And you could have, as a human driver, fixed that, even though it started off wrong.
I would have had to drive really
Tight to the
aggressively.
bus.
I would have had to drive way off to the left, so that way I was like sideways to the back of the bus. Okay, hello, get over.
Whoa.
Get over. I've seen people drive worse in here.
Well, it's not the point.
Not saying much. Yeah, I mean, I would have had to really squeeze myself in behind the bus because there just wasn't enough room, and I was in the middle of the intersection. I think that you should have either been more aggressive, cut in front of the bus, or let the bus go would have been what I would have done. It's not an easy intersection, though.
No. All right, we're coming up to a police car.
Okay.
Maybe they've pulled someone over. I'm not sure, but we'll see what it does.
I actually can't see it as a driver.
It's a pickup truck police car, and it's like in the road.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's we normally would be where the police car is.
Okay.
So that's why everyone's kind of pulling over to the left.
Okay. It seems to be handling it pretty well. I have my hands on the wheel, by the way. So it's going over the yellow line. I would say
It did it very well. It went
touched the yellow
slow,
line.
but other cars had gone over the yellow line. I think it did great.
I mean, you could argue it should have a wider berth, but again, that's so high level.
I just want to point out that is one of the edge cases. That's a thing that happens where a cop car is, blocking your lane, and you have to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And that's again where I go to years of driving. Like, to me, that is where a 16-year-old may not have encountered that before, and they're not sure what to do, and they slow down usually, and I don't know, it handled it really well.
Yeah. No, there was no miss.
It didn't slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I hated about early versions of this software, is that when it did get confused, it would oftentimes like lurch you forward and brake. Now it seems to be much more in control.
Yep.
Well, and again, this is the old version of the software. I do want to remind everyone, we're in the first half of this video. We're just seeing how it used to do. I can't wait to see how it's going to do.
I wonder if we're going to have to up the ante and give it a harder course. Because, I mean, honestly, this has been doing pretty well. I know it didn't make that turn in that intersection. But I don't know. Aside from that, it's been relatively smooth.
Oh, this is really cool. The fact that we haven't had an official intervention.
I know,
mean, it
I
did
haven't-
screw up, but
Yeah.
humans screw up.
Well, yes.
I mean, I could have screwed up if I didn't know that route, and
Oh,
then a
yeah.
bus was
No,
taking,
and I've seen people who would have stopped in that intersection. And I mean, it would have stopped in the intersection, in the middle of it. It would have blocked the driver on the left. He would have started beeping. He was already mad at us. He was already like, go!
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, I totally understand. Why was I in the middle of the intersection if I wasn't ready to get in there? So that I would definitely give it a ding for.
Yep. All right, so I just want to point out that this version that we're doing now is the old version, is before the single stack. And if you're like, what is a single stack, Zach? Is that some kind of pancake order? No, that is, they took the FSD Beta where it can drive around cities at low speeds, and they took the highway version, which is autopilot, which you're going to see in a second. We should be able to do that all seamlessly. I'm really looking forward to that part.
Yep.
All right, so let's debrief from this first ride. I'd like to know your opinion, Jesse, on when you had to disengage. You didn't actually disengage at one point, but I think we should count that as a disengagement.
I think that you're right. It didn't make the right turn. It wasn't able to get into the right lane. I think that it handled it improperly. It's really tough. I want to give it credit. It's really tough. A really tough turn.
Especially with the bus.
But I would have been able to do a better job.
I mean, all humans would have. We would have either let the bus go or we would have gotten in front.
Not all humans.
Sorry. Many good drivers would
Yeah.
have known what to do.
Yes.
So I think we should count that as a disengagement.
Yep.
And then now, in terms of uncomfortableness, I think there was a bunch of uncomfortableness that I'm really dying to see the next test.
Yeah.
1 hour later.
Look at all the update notes.
Yeah, so this is for the over-the-air software update recall.
Let's just get on the road.
Yeah, basically, I have full self-driving beta version 11 now.
And yeah, so this is 2022.45.11.
Yeah.
Exciting. All right, let's go see. We're going to do pretty much the same route and see how it does.
Okay.
New visualization.
Yeah.
Wow. This is exciting.
Test begin.
So you get a thick blue line now.
Thick blue line, and it even shows arrows for when you're like speeding up and slowing down.
That's cool.
Nice little visualization there. So, slowed down for that truck.
Nice. I mean,
Maybe.
this is a very tight turn.
It is a very tight turn, and the truck looks pretty scary. I'll grant you that. Feel like let me get us going just a little bit faster here.
Yeah, in the last test you had it at 42, I think.
All right. Be consistent. So it's not afraid of those cars oncoming. That seemed fine.
It does seem to see further.
It does feel that way. It seems like the world is a little bit more mapped out ahead of us.
Yeah. I mean,
Or it at least draws it.
It keeps having that car in front of us, like keeps catching it, which is really cool
Yeah.
because it's quite a bit.
Did you feel that? You
Yeah.
saw that. As soon as it saw that car coming around the corner, it freaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's more cautious. But I did notice, and I think I talked about this in the first test, that oncoming cars would sometimes spook it.
Right. See
All
how
right.
it handles this guy taking a left.
Okay. It shows the slowing down.
Yeah.
And then it redraws the path. Wow,
That
that
felt perfect.
that felt really good. And so like here, it obviously opens up, but there are no lane markings. You can't see it. So what's it going to do? It's a little bit in the middle, but I think it handled that remarkably well.
Yeah, you can see where it thought about going to the right and then it decided not to.
And it shows where it's going to stop.
Yep.
And then it shows that it's going to accelerate. That's so cool.
It's really helpful. It's helpful to you as the driver because then you know whether to trust it.
Yes.
But having a nice thick line
Yeah.
and deacceleration is just...
And that nice sharp line right there
yes,
to show where
look
it's
at
going to
that.
stop.
Oh, that is so nice.
That's cool. Pulled right in behind the car.
Yep.
And then I love how it zooms up to show the intersection from
Yep.
above.
I'm loving it.
So I went through that yellow light. I think that was completely acceptable.
See how it handles this left
Yeah.
turn guy.
Blinker. Technically, we could go around. There we go.
There
It's
we
doing
go.
it. It
It
did
did
that
it.
all by itself. It should accelerate now.
Oh, it's really confused
It's really
about what
confused.
it's supposed to be doing there.
Yeah, that was pretty lame. It showed taking that left.
Yeah, it's almost like it took the car in front of you as a guide when it shouldn't
That
have.
was so weird.
I wonder if it has an algorithm that says if the car in front of you is doing something, maybe that's the right thing to do.
Maybe. I mean, it eventually corrected itself, so...
But it took a good second.
Yeah. Oh,
guy in the road.
Slowing way down.
I think it saw that guy.
I'm giving it some acceleration. I'm going to call that an uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
It did not do the right thing. Oh, no, you know what it was? I'm going to take that away. It saw the speed limit sign.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so red light up ahead. This is where it had trouble just a few hours ago.
Yep. Be
All right,
prepared because there is
in.
someone behind you.
Yep. So we're coming in. If it up, I'm going to take over. It's very confident, and I know exactly where it's going. Ooh, do you see that?
Yeah.
It was like, is this car parked?
But
I
it
need
does
to go
see the car
around it?
behind you, which is great.
Yeah,
I love that it showed that car behind you.
that was nice. Let's see how it handles coming out. That felt a little weirder than the last one. Oh. BMW is going to BMW.
And last time it didn't turn on the blinker until very close to the turn. Let's see how it does now.
Okay. Yeah, the yield was a little funky, but it handled it fine.
Oh, there we go. Get the blinkers. Nice.
I think that was the exact point where I would put on the blinker if I was being...
Although it stopped blinking, but I guess now we're in this lane, so you don't have to.
Right. I think I would have put the blinker on.
Now it's back on.
Okay. No yielding needs to take place. So
But it did stop to look.
Did yield.
Yeah.
I think that was fine.
Yeah.
So I feel like compared to this morning, we're getting a little bit more like dappled sunlight as the sun's coming through the trees. So a lot of flashing light can be distracting for a driver, but it seems to be handling it really well, which is interesting because if you think about it, the camera actually has to be constantly adjusting between when it's getting shadow and when it's getting sun. And this is like the worst case scenario for it.
Really good point.
But it doesn't seem to phase it one bit.
I know, problems that to me would have just been insurmountable, it seems to have solved so many years ago.
Yeah. And so I think I can affect the... Oh, interesting. You can affect it... I think this is new. I can set minimal lane changes. I can change on the fly, chill, average, or assertive driving.
Ooh.
So I thought that this would change my follow distance, but because normally this is follow distance, but now I can change between assertive, average, or chill. I'm going to stay in chill. I want to see what chill looks like. But maybe when we get further into the city, when I want to be more assertive, I'll change it to assertive. How's that sound?
Okay, sounds good. What were we in before?
I believe we were in chill.
Oh, okay.
So that could explain why we had that trouble at that intersection.
What's kind of weird is so far, except for maybe one or two little glitches, it's felt like a real human driver. Like it's felt like you driving.
Oh, same as last time.
Yeah.
Thank you for the consistency.
Yeah.
Getting cut in front of. That felt fine too.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't freak out or anything.
Yep.
And weird, it should creep up closer in my opinion, but maybe it's worried about rollback.
I mean, you could worry about rollback. I wouldn't worry about it with a automatic Honda Ridgeline, but with a big truck or something, I mean...
Maybe because it can give it better vision?
It can.
I mean, being up too close, maybe they've learned that by staying a little bit further back, although I would argue this is kind of...
This is ridiculous, and I think that people will get mad, so I'm just going to pull up just a little bit, just to be within the realm of acceptability. I'll be a little bit further back than I usually would. Okay, we hit the green. Autopilot, I need to hit the accelerator to resume. That's weird.
That is weird.
Okay. Oh, autopilot complete now. It's my fault.
So far, no disengagements on your part.
Yeah. No, I think it handled it. It's been handling it slightly better than before.
And I mean, how many uncomfortables?
Fewer.
Yeah.
So far.
A little fast here.
Yeah, that's probably my fault. I'm going to drop it down to 30.
And now we're about to enter a school zone of 20.
Sure.
Let's see if
I don't think it updates that. I don't think it cares.
So you as the driver have to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fair to a certain extent. So we're coming up on two pretty difficult intersections. The previous version had trouble on this upcoming one. It went through it, what I would consider to be too slowly, and then didn't accelerate out of it at all.
Right.
So we're coming up here.
Got its
It
blinker.
has its blinker on. It's slowing down. It shows the cars as blue when it sees them to show that it's an issue. These people aren't letting me go, which is fine. They shouldn't. Sees that car. So it's nice at a glance. I can see. Now, I'm going to switch to assertive here. I would have gone.
Yeah, I would have gone too.
But I don't blame it for not going. Okay, now go. Okay,
Too bad it can't recognize the flash of the lights. That took the corner better.
Took the corner excellently.
Perfectly.
Now, it slows down because of that truck, and it sees the concrete truck coming. Oh!
It did give a little steer around it, which is nice.
That was perfect. It handled it really well. I mean, I don't love seeing a concrete truck coming directly for me, but...
There was also a piece of newspaper or whatever blowing in the wind, and it ignored it. Now this is a tricky one.
Yeah. So right now we're in assertive. It says stopping for stop sign. And again, it's stopping before the crosswalk, which is the legal thing to do. But it hasn't pulled up yet. Huh?
I don't know why it's not going forward.
So now it's pulling forward, and it's
go.
We're good. We have plenty of time.
No, I know, but that was dangerous.
That
Just
was
stop in the
pretty
middle of the
bad.
intersection like that, you're gonna get T-boned.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
No, I would call that a serious uncomfortable.
Yeah. All right, so we're in assertive, coming up to where it failed last time.
And you were in chill last time.
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't think that the turn has gotten any easier. Maybe we won't get a bus problem this time. A little close to that cop.
Shouldn't get near the cop so closely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're over in the right lane, which is correct. Puts its blinker on, turns it off.
Yeah, I don't know this on and off stuff. Once you commit to your blinker, you commit. Okay, I don't see a bus coming.
Okay. And luckily, it looks like the other lane is going to be nicer.
Yeah, you got a blockage from that guy.
Okay.
But we really want to be right behind the BMW.
Yep. And it
made
up.
the same mistake.
Right up.
I mean, I will say, whoever civil engineered that intersection was a dope.
They
was
were
a complete dope. Now it should
stop.
Should stop.
Stop.
Stop. We're gonna break the law.
We're breaking the law.
We are breaking the law. Okay, so it just broke the law.
Okay, so worse than last time.
I mean, you did say assertive, but
Cut
that
over. Okay.
should not break the law.
So it went through a red arrow. I don't know, man. Red arrows.
Red arrows.
Who
You're
knows?
supposed to. No, in Massachusetts, you're supposed. Whoa, what's going on?
Oh,
here?
we're changing our route.
Oh.
It updated the route to go a different way. So we'll let it do whatever it wants to do.
Bad turn there.
Not the greatest turn. Yeah, it came to almost a stop.
So in Massachusetts, red arrow, you come to a complete stop and then you can go through. So I don't know if we ever came to a
That
complete
was a
stop.
California roll through because it's a California car.
Oh, so it's going to try the corner again.
Yeah.
All right.
This time it'll actually be easier for it, I believe, because we're coming at it from a different road. It's a 7-way. See what it's going to do here. I mean, it has to compete with all this traffic, which is not great. So we're probably going to hit this light, and it's probably going to be backed up. And we're going to want to be in the right lane. We're going to want to follow those cars. And it's not doing it. I'm taking over. That's an intervention. Sorry. That was going to set us right in the middle of the intersection.
Yep.
And it should have gone this way.
Yep.
Come on.
Wow, it's a lot harder to get it in.
Yeah. So now what we want to be doing is following that car. We don't have the space to do it right now. It looks like it's showing where it is going to want to go. And it doesn't turn dark blue until it's going to go.
Interesting.
Okay.
And puts us right on the pothole.
Yep. Okay. Green.
Stops at the crosswalk? No.
It shouldn't have stopped. It was a
Okay.
green light.
Okay.
That felt fine.
That felt fine.
Okay. So I would say that it did not handle that intersection properly.
Agreed. So we're nearing the end of what would be the kind of city section, and I feel like it needs more. Like I want more data.
Yeah, let's give it just a couple seconds of highway, and then we'll pull off, and we'll give it a little bit more lull.
Okay.
Some really hard stuff since this is version 11.
Okay.
Woo, heavy braking. We had plenty of room, but it wants to maintain this extra wide
Well,
distance.
you said aggressive, right?
It's true.
Assertive.
True.
What was it called again?
Assertive.
Assertive. Yeah. So maybe go back to medium. I don't know.
Getting on the connector, you got to go quick.
I wonder what the difference is, in percentage-wise from assertive to chill.
I want to see how the single stack handle's getting on this highway.
Okay. Yes, now we're turning onto the highway. There's a van on our right.
We should have yielded. I don't think there's a yield sign there, though.
No, he had, I don't know who's supposed to yield to be honest there. But, so it did the right thing, in my opinion. It didn't fight with the van.
Now it says I can press the voice button. I felt uncomfortable because the car didn't yield. I have no idea who had the right of way, but the van definitely was not going to stop. So you can send it. That was cool. It asked why I disengaged. I don't know if I saw that on the last one. I just wasn't paying any attention. Cool. So I'm going to manually take it out in a second just to take this exit. But it was cool that it kind of got on the highway. But yeah, that was a disengagement there. I just don't know what the right thing to do was, but I would have erred on the side of caution.
So it looks like the route you have planned for us is pretty tricky, which is just what I asked for. So thank you. Let's see how FSD Beta does.
Coming up to this intersection, stopping at the crosswalk because that's technically legal. Stopping here, pulling. That's not cool.
Well, it had to see to the right.
Yeah, I know, but
I know.
Ooh,
a little weird.
Junky wonky.
Yeah.
Now we're going to take this weird right turn. So this is kind of cool to see it do some weird stuff.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Not bad.
That was great.
That was not bad at all.
Handled that like a human.
Okay, stop. And it tells me stopping for stop sign. That's kind of nice.
No, this is tricky.
Stops right at the line.
Should go creep
Peeking,
up.
Creepy. That a lot. That sucked.
That would have been a T-bone.
That would have that
That would have been a T-bone.
I don't know what the
I want you to pull over and cool off for a second because that was scary. Good job that you're paying attention. So if I can just recap that for you guys, because you're seeing it again here. I don't know what angle we got. Hopefully the 360 caught it.
That a lot.
But
Definitely.
It stopped at the stop sign, which is the right thing to do. But putting the nose of the car at the stop sign means that you really don't know what's going on in the intersection.
Couldn't see anything.
Then it pulled forward, but instead of pulling forward, looking, and then going quickly, it pulled forward and kind of stopped. And
it kept creeping forward.
And basically, there was a car. Now, was the other car at fault, or did they have a stop sign?
They did not have a stop sign.
So this was not a four-way stop or anything. The other car had the right of way and would have probably T-boned us had Jesse not taken over.
Look, I don't know. They could have maybe slammed on the brakes. Didn't look like the kind of car that was going to do that.
No.
But...
No, because they expected that we would not cut them off. Basically, we were cutting them off.
Right. We did not have the right of way.
And I will point to the problem that I think this was again, which is that the cameras cannot see that way or that way at a 90 degree angle very well.
I don't think that there's much excuse, though. Honestly, we were able to see pretty far left. Well, let's take a look at the 360 footage and show what that looked like, because basically the 360 footage is very close in terms of forward.
No, I'm going to argue right now, they need a camera that looks straight out that way and straight out that way.
It does.
They don't have it.
I know.
They have a camera that looks back 45 degrees, and that's not helpful in these situations.
And they have one that looks forward 45 degrees,
but it can't
from back here.
Exactly, and that's the problem. I'm going to tell you right now, I know I'm right about this. Until you encounter this type of situation, you won't understand. But this situation, you need a camera out on the front that's looking directly 90 degrees to the car. You doing okay?
Yeah. All right.
Back to it.
Back to it.
We do this hard for you guys.
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Funny how this seems like it would be the easy part because it's just little residential back roads. But
I know.
These sharp 90-degree stop signs are very hard for this car.
I know. And I mean, I'll be honest, they're hard for drivers too.
But you can crane your neck. You can get an extra couple feet.
All right, so coming up to another crappy intersection.
Yeah, this should be tricky. It's not a four-way, but it's a three-way with the left.
Yep.
Unprotected left.
This person's trying to take the right. We were, I would say, not where we were supposed to be.
No.
Peeking forward a little too far. Go. All right. That was...
It was pretty good. It wasn't...
That was on the line.
Yeah.
Of where I was feeling uncomfortable.
Now we're going to take a sharp right.
Yep. This is a four-way stop.
I mean, a right should be easy-ish.
Should be pretty much the easiest thing to do. We're stopping behind the crosswalk, which is technically legal.
Now move up to the stop line.
Yeah.
Thank you. Takes way too long to do that.
Yeah, and then just f***ing took the turn.
Wow, that was not safe.
I mean, technically, the other cars shouldn't be going, but you
yeah,
gotta look.
You have to know.
You gotta look.
Yeah,
it's not a perfect...
I am not happy.
If someone was zooming through that, which happens, then, I don't know, I guess you could have slammed on the brake as you saw the car.
It should have pulled up to the stop sign and gotten a better look, but like we just talked about, it doesn't have a camera to do that.
Right. I mean, I didn't like that because it stopped way behind, so nobody cares. Nobody cares about me stopping behind the crosswalk.
No.
If you're not up to that line, nobody treats
exist.
you like you're actually legally stopping.
Exactly.
I mean, technically legally I am, but it's, I don't know, that's tough.
And no one could even see you.
Yeah.
No, this is not, for this type of driving, these sharp rights and lefts.
Yeah. No, that was really tough.
And that was a right turn. That should have been pretty easy.
I mean, there was not a disengagement, but I did feel uncomfortable.
It's just because we lucked out that there was no one coming.
Right.
So here's another example coming up where that we're unprotected here.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a light to protect us, but...
Not really. This is an unprotected left because we won't get a green arrow.
Oh, we'll just get... Well, but I mean, that means they should be stopped.
On the right, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
We're
protected on the right by the light, but I just don't know how much the car actually sees what's going on over there.
True.
Because I would argue this B-pillar camera, it may be seeing over there right now, but as we do the turn, it'll lose sight very quickly, and that camera will pick up, but there's no camera that's seeing it at this second right now.
Sure. No, and I mean, we really lucked out that there was no one oncoming on that turn, because otherwise we'd have to wait. We were too far over to the right there.
Yep.
That was the disengagement.
Yep.
The car was too far over to the right. The line is not very well visible, but too far over to the right, so when the guy pulled out, we were going to hit him. So we're coming up to the Drum Hill Rotary. This, if you haven't been to Massachusetts before and you've never experienced the Drum Hill Rotary,
don't visit it if you can help
yeah,
it.
try and avoid it. It sucks. It's not a rotary, as the name suggests. It used to be a rotary. Now it is a abomination.
Yeah, they just added light after light after light.
Yeah, and it has 6 lanes. Okay, coming up to the yellow. Nice. So I'm curious to see what it's going to do. I'm anticipating that I'm going to need to take over. I mean, I never know which lane to be in. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's awful.
Like, frankly, I have no clue.
No, and sometimes you have to get over 3 or 4 lanes in an instant.
Yes.
To be doing the correct thing.
Right. Which is why I like driving a Tesla, because I usually can just squeeze out of there as soon as the light turns green and just get over 6 lanes.
I mean, here's a perfect example. There's a pedestrian who's trying to cross the street, and there's no easy way to do it. Look at her. She has to just sprint
to avoid to be hit
and
from the...
just getting home from school. Like, that's ridiculous.
Okay, so we got the green light. It's going a little slow.
Too slow.
I mean, it's going, but it's...
I think that's because it can't see.
You think so?
I am very disappointed.
Okay, well, we're getting over.
Yeah.
Well, we got the blinker on.
I gotta be honest, I'm disappointed.
Okay.
I was very optimistic, but I don't feel that there was a tremendous amount of improvement from the last version. I mean, some things felt a little better, but...
Right. The visualization has been nice.
I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Well,
I mean, I guess that near miss T-bone to me just...
That really sucks.
I mean, because that means that it's not like, oh, it just drove uncomfortably. It means you would have been in an accident.
I don't know. Obviously,
you would have.
We don't know.
It would have been if either a close call or an accident, and the kind of accident where you could have been killed because that's a T-bone into the driver's side.
Right. I mean, they probably were not going fast enough.
They were going pretty fast.
I mean, to kill me. But yeah, I obviously don't want to be in a accident.
The navigation system is a different...
Whoa, what the No.
Wow.
There was no reason to stop at all. It stopped in the middle of the road. It should have taken the turn. It had the right of way. There was nobody around. Yeah, I don't... Like, come on. Now I have to take this manually. Oh, actually, I can put it in. Let it do it itself. You, go!
Yeah,
Damn it.
So let me explain the frustration again, because you probably can't see that on film. It starts to go, then it breaks, and then it goes. It feels like a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old who just doesn't know what they're doing. And it's dangerous because once you've committed, unless there's some reason not to, unless you're about to be hit or something, you have to go.
Yeah, you can't be stuck in the middle of an intersection.
And so it feels like a child, and I think that's because it can't see.
I hear what you're saying about that.
It feels like it's like, oh, 60% sure, not sure, and rethinking.
But it's like you're past the point of no return.
Exactly.
You have to go.
Right.
I mean, I understand it doesn't want to sail you into somebody. You know, it doesn't want to speed up and get into a head-on collision or something, but it's just like, give me a break. I think you might be right that it can't see.
It can't see. I know it for a fact. I've driven this enough. I know what the problem is. I know when it's weak. And its weak point is it needs cameras at the front of the car pointing 90 degrees to the car. It needs that, and it doesn't have it.
I mean, but how am I able to do it?
You're able to do it because you can crane your neck,
Okay.
which changes you're now looking 90 degrees to the car,
Sure.
and that's a huge benefit. Secondly, you can creep and keep and look. Now go. Like, you can do that. For some reason, this, because it can't see up until the last point, it's making all of these just, I don't know, guesses? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to see what it sees. Now, maybe when we get higher resolution cameras, those two different angles will pick up on, you know, the higher pixels will be able to tell what kind of car is coming. But look, it's tricky. I'm not going to lie. A 90-degree unprotected turn is tricky. But you can't put yourself in the middle of the intersection
And then stop.
That's not how you do it. Maybe also, I think maybe it doesn't have enough data. If you think about it, it needs to fail, right, to learn.
Sure.
And maybe not enough people are giving it feedback after it fails. Maybe it thinks I did pretty good. No one said anything. I don't know.
All right, here we're coming up to a four-way stop. This truck definitely has the right of way. We come to a full stop, kind of. It does this weird thing where it comes to an almost stop.
And it wastes time.
Then it creeps forward, and then it stops.
Yeah, it wastes all that time.
I hate that.
Yep.
I like to come to a stop where it's like, ee-dump.
Yep.
I mean, maybe it's personal preference, and maybe my blood pressure's a little high because we just almost died, but...
No, but then it immediately handled another turn wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's got a problem. It's all about seeing.
Yeah.
If you can't see, sure, you can go through an intersection 99 times out of 100 and be fine because it just happens to be that no one's coming, but on that 100th time, you'll get hit.
Right. So, I mean, what happens? I mean, like, what happens if we go forward and the hardware, the literal cameras aren't going to work, aren't going to be what it needs, and it needs a full hardware upgrade in order to be able to...
Well, that's the big question. Does the B pillar and the side camera, can they, I mean, because they are pointing in that general direction, how much are they seeing and how much can they extrapolate from what they are seeing? I'm not an engineer. I don't know exactly what they see, and maybe you can parse out the data you need from that. But I just think an easier solution would be to put 2 more cameras.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that's going to be too expensive.
Not too expensive if you're going to spend an extra 4 years trying to get to full self-driving before you realize that you needed those cameras.
Right. No, and the lawsuits. I mean, I think that's the big question for me.
Right.
Is especially now that we have version 4 hardware, which probably is going to be able to do it.
Well, let me ask you. Your headlights right now are what, 5 feet from you? 6 feet from your eyes? If I said to you right now you could have a camera that would be looking that way, would you opt to use it on an intersection? Yes, you would.
That's true.
Because it would give you a greater field of vision.
That's true.
All right, so we're back in the studio from our heart-pounding trip there. And I got to say, this felt a lot like the other videos we've done on FSD. Look, I'm a big fan. I want FSD to work. And it does work most of the time. But there's some key points here, and they're almost always the same with us. Those 90-degree intersections, the car is very bad at. So I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think this is a hardware problem. I think Teslas need to have cameras in the very front of the car, up near the headlights, that are pointing directly 90 degrees away from the car. And they're for a very specific situation, which are these intersections. For the most part, they won't be needed. So it's not like it'll be taxing and they'll be looking at things they don't need to see all the time. But when you approach those intersections, they should turn on, and they'll give you vision that you don't normally have.
I don't know if you're right. I'll be honest. I don't know if you're right. I think that it was a programming thing where they were like, let's program in creep. And so they programmed in creep, and some parameter is not set correctly, because I think that there should be some kind of maximum lane penetration number or percentage, and it should not go any further than that. And I think that it shouldn't ever stop once it gets past that point.
But I argue that that car that was about to T-bone us, I don't think the car saw it. You saw it, but I don't think the car saw it. And let's remind ourselves, there's a camera in front of you that's pointing backwards. There's a camera on the B pillar pointing 45 degrees forward, and nothing is looking 90 degrees to the car. And in certain situations, what does your head do? 90 degrees.
But I mean, I saw the car without having my head craned all the way forward. So I think that the B camera pillar should have seen it. The problem was that it was already stopping. It was already going out too far and not just continuing through the intersection.
It was going out too far because it had to go those extra few feet because it doesn't have cameras there. Look, why does Zoox and Cruise Origin build these boxy cars with cameras on the 4 outside corners? Because that's a great place to put cameras.
I mean, I agree. It's just Tesla said that they were going to do this with the hardware installed in the cars. And they took my money. They have my money.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you there.
They have lots of people's money.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
If they can't make this work, they're either going to need to upgrade the cameras for free, or they're going to have a big problem where people paid for full self-driving and they won't get it. And then we're going to talk about lawsuits. Now, do I think that this is going to happen? Not really. I'm confident that they're going to be able to fix this. I think it's a software problem. I don't think that it's necessarily a hardware problem.
But it just hasn't gotten any better, in my opinion. It's doing the same kind of... it pulls up very timidly, and then it kind of drops you off in the middle of the intersection, and you're like, go! Like, how many times have we been screaming at the car like you yell at like a 15-year-old, like, go!
Yeah. This should be software. It should be, okay, once you get to a certain point, you just have to go.
Yeah.
You're already infringing on the right of way, so get the out of the way.
Right.
That's the simple truth of it. It's like, at a certain point, you just have to say, I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm going to go, and hopefully everyone else is going to make way for me.
Because I would argue you're absolutely right. In that case, regardless of how fast you're going, if the other traffic is going at 40 or 50 miles an hour, you're going to get T-boned regardless of how fast you're going.
I mean, in the situation where, the car was coming from our left and we were creeping out further and further, the reason that I slammed on the brake was not because we had been creeped out too far by that point, but it was that we were moving while the other car was moving.
Exactly.
So we came to a stop way behind the line, which is fine. But then when you creep forward, I typically like to set a boundary, hit the boundary, wait. And if that boundary isn't far up enough, then I wait, but then I will hit another boundary and then another boundary. But it's not so far. And I think that might be the problem, is that I don't know what the car is doing.
Right.
Maybe the car was about to slam on the brakes too, but it's like...
Well, and that's another problem with the visualization that it has now. Even though it's gotten better and you can see what it's thinking, at that moment, you're not looking at the screen. You should be looking at the road, which you were.
Thank God I was.
Right. So I got to say, I was so excited to tell you guys that this was the ultimate and we were there. We are not there. I think they have made some improvements. It does feel very human for most of the trip, but when it runs into a problem, it still acts like a new driver who doesn't know what they're doing.
And so I think that this is the weird place where we are, where we want to be very realistic and tell you exactly what's going on. I don't want to sugarcoat it for you, but I also at the same time, I do think that Tesla is going to create full self-driving. I do think that they're going to be able to do it. Am I losing confidence that the current hardware setup is going to be able to do it? I don't know if it's the computer. I don't know if it's the cameras like you're saying, but I'm losing a little bit of faith that hardware 3 or 3.5 or whatever it is I have in my car is going to be able to cut it, because it just seems like it is really hard.
I'm hopeful that the new higher resolution cameras might make up for this, because you have the older cameras, so that might make some difference. I hope you're right. I hope we don't have to put new cameras in.
But yeah, when it comes to safety, I do want it to be multiple times safer than the average driver, because personally, and I know that I could be very wrong, I think that I am safer than the average driver.
I just feel like putting cameras at the outside edges of the car are such a great engineering solution. I know that they've already committed to not doing that, but if you were starting with a clean piece of paper, you would put cameras out there, I think.
I mean, they have hundreds of thousands of cars of people who paid thousands and thousands of dollars to have full self-driving, and if they want to make that one change, even if the cameras cost $20, it's going to be very expensive.
I agree, but on the other hand, what if it takes them years to find out that I'm right?
Right.
Look, I'm not smart enough. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and if it's software, which I hope you're right, or if it's hardware is too slow, or if it's the placement of the cameras. Let us know down in the comments what you think, because look, I ultimately want this to be successful as soon as possible.
So yeah, let us know what you think. I don't think that we know for sure, but it was concerning that, I don't know. I hear all of these people and they're just like, I had, so many miles of intervention-free travel. And it's like, good for you. Were you in San Francisco? Were you in some place that isn't, so densely packed?
Well, San Francisco is densely packed.
It is, but like maybe the streets are easier to make turns on. I just have no idea how these people are having such great luck.
Yeah.
And I seem to always be having this problem. Like, is it my car? I don't know. Leave your comments down below. I want to have a discussion about what is going on.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Now you know.